Welcome to another episode of Tropes vs. Men Definitions. In this episode, we're going to be talking about rape culture. What is rape culture? In feminist theory, rape culture is the setting that rape is pervasive and normalized due to societal attitudes towards gender and sexuality. The same feminists critique basic safety procedures that are designed to reduce the risk of assault and chant the mantra of teach men not to rape, forgetting that most felony crimes are committed by unstable individuals, or those out of touch with reality. It has been shown that individuals who rape do so out of desires for power and are fueled by anger and hatred, and not because they seek sexual gratification. In fact, men who do seek sex work overwhelmingly desire to be desired. Rape is abhorrent to them. In fact, male testosterone, which is the cause of sexual desire or heightened aggression, actually drops in the presence of female tears. The idea that rape is normalized and pervasive in our society is also false. Rape ranges from a Class A to a Class C felony, depending on state and circumstance, as the definitions of rape are expanded to include various non-consensual acts or even consensual acts that were performed in the presence of alcohol. The punishment for these felonies is anywhere between mandatory 10 to 25 years for a Class C felony, or a lifetime in prison or death for a Class A felony. Despite a steady decrease in sexual assault since 1993, anyone speaking out against the idea of rape culture in the West gets severely punished by feminists, especially if they are a woman. Activist and budding politician Lauren Southern has experienced this firsthand when she peacefully held up a sign of protest during slut walks in Canada, as well as in Los Angeles. And I personally have received severe backlash from certain companies for merely suggesting that when we believe all women without evidence or even care to look for evidence, that means the man who has been accused is guilty in the court of public opinion, and nothing can prove him innocent. Rape allegations are so serious and so severe that men's lives have been ruined, regardless whether or not the claim was true or false.
Do you ever think that if this does go to trial, that if you're convicted, you could face a lot of time in prison? Do you ever think about that?
Would you?
Sure.
Yeah. 30 years I could go to jail for something that never happens.
Just 3 weeks after the allegations surfaced, a stunning blow to the prosecutor's case. The DNA collected from the rape kit did not match any of the lacrosse players. More troubling evidence began to spill out. Defendant Reed Seligman is seen here taking money out of an ATM at the same time he was supposed to be raping the accuser. But perhaps most devastating was this woman, the dancer who had performed alongside the accuser that night at the Duke party. She said if there was a rape, she did not see it.
I never saw a rape occur.
In the police statement, she describes the rape in this way. 3 guys grabbed Nikki, that's you. Brett, Adam, and Matt grabbed me. They separated us at the master bedroom door while we tried to hold on to each other. Brett, Adam, and Matt took me into the bathroom. Were you holding on to each other? Were you pulled apart?
No.
Those are not the only questionable statements Precious has made in this case. She's given different accounts about the number of men who raped her, saying at one point that night it was 5 guys, 3 men. And at one point, she said no one had forced her to have sex.
There are threats of drive-by shootings, assaults, people driving by Duke students and pretending to point guns at them. And I came home every weekend because I was scared that something might happen to me.
You can't run! You can't hide! There's nothing to do but testify!
The lacrosse team was forced to forfeit 2 games because of the controversy. Fans showed up for yesterday's game and found out it was forfeited along with Tuesday's match. They were also greeted by protesters carrying signs that say, "Don't be a fan of rapists."
To have people in front of your house banging pots with a sign that says castrate, real men tell the truth, Sunday morning, time to confess, and going out there and saying all these things before any piece of evidence had ever been presented is just mind-boggling.
You Google up one of the boys' names, my name, and then, on the computer you saw the word rape. sexual assault next to your name. That just was, even today I get emotional about it.
You wake up in the morning, there'd be signs in your front porch. You know, I get up at 5 a.m., take those signs down because I didn't want the girls to see those things.
What did they say, Mike?
You know, one was that just tore me apart, rapist, lover. You know, another one, do your duty, turn them in, those things, those kind of things. And, that's very hurtful. I don't care if it's 10 years ago or 10 minutes ago. It never leaves you.
Yeah. With the rape scandal at full boil here at Duke, Pressler was summoned to the office of then athletic director Joe Oliva, where he was issued an ultimatum: resign immediately or risk being fired. So Pressler resigned. The sacrificial lamb needed to appease protesters and protect the school's gold-plated image.
Tonight, outrage at the University of Virginia is growing. Hundreds taking their protest to the front steps of the school's fraternities after the school's president suspended them for the rest of the semester in the wake of an explosive expose from Rolling Stone magazine.
Our university! Whose university? Our university! Whose university? Our university! Woo!
What's going on?
Not one more! Not one more! Not one more! Not one more! Not one more!
Burn them down!
Not one more!
Burn them down!
Burn down the frat houses.
Yeah!
Rolling Stone backpedaled in a statement, writing, "In the face of new information, there now appear to be discrepancies in Jackie's account, and we have come to the conclusion that our trust in her was misplaced." The magazine also acknowledged its reporter, Sabrina Rubin Erdley, never talked to Jackie's alleged accusers, saying Jackie asked the publication not to for fear of retaliation.
Rolling Stone magazine apologizing for never contacting the accused attackers to verify the story, relying solely on information provided by Jackie. First, the fraternity denies there was a social event at the house the weekend of the alleged rape. Second, the accuser says her rape was part of a fall pledging ritual, but the fraternity says initiations only happen in the spring. And third, according to the article, Jackie says she was lured to the fraternity by a member who worked with her at the campus aquatic center. But according to the fraternity, none of its members worked there at the time.
In an article today, the Washington Post reported Jackie's friends recently began to question her account.
They say she told them she had been sexually assaulted by 5 men. But there are differences between that account and the Rolling Stone story. And while Rolling Stone describes Jackie as barefoot, disheveled, her face beaten, dress splattered with blood, her friends say they didn't see that.
I don't recall any injuries at all.
Listen to how Ryan describes what happened next.
The first thing I said was, we need to go to the police. And the reason that we didn't go to the police was because Jackie didn't want to.
Jackie said to you, "I don't want to go to police." She said those words to you.
Yes. And that's the sole reason that we didn't.
We have no basis to conclude that anything happened at that fraternity house.
The blistering report released last night by Columbia University Graduate School of Journalism called it a story of journalistic failure that was avoidable.
The report says Rolling Stone set aside or rationalized as unnecessary essential practices of reporting that, if pursued, would likely have led the magazine's editors to reconsider publishing Jackie's narrative so prominently, if at all.
Today, Rolling Stone retracted the story, the reporter apologizing to readers, to UVA, and to victims of sexual assault, but not to Phi Kappa Psi, now threatening to sue, saying clearly our fraternity and its members have been defamed.
We do know that this story is not true, so it's a very unfortunate thing that happened, and I think she is at least, if nothing else, definitely a victim of this story being published because Rolling Stone did not do their job in verifying it.
And the idea that rape is normalized or pervasive in this world or in our society is also shown false through the recent situation that happened with James Dean. He was accused by several women for violating consent, and as we see, the sex work industry turned on him faster than you could blink. This proves that we live in a society that craves to punish men who are known or considered or even accused to be rapists. We have countless examples of male lives that were ruined based on just a suspicion of violating consent or being a rapist. And as we see, clearly society does not excuse or forgive rapists. Rape culture is the biggest talking point of faux humanitarian feminist organizations that give others a mistaken sense that this radical brand of feminism is actually helping women, while in fact, they disregard female victims when those do not agree with their politics. Gamergate was known to those few who chose to remain ignorant and misinformed as a campaign to harass women. Well, in reality, the hashtag collective was raising money for adult performer Cytherea, a recent victim of brutal rape. While opponents of Gamergate and self-purported champions of women were laughing down the idea and did not even raise a finger or a cent to help her. Slut-shaming is brought up as another reason why women need feminism and something that can lead to rape, because provocative dress is cited as a reason why women are attacked. However, that is actually not the case. In fact, more modest clothing has been proven to associate with likelihood of sexual assault because, as we mentioned before, unstable individuals who choose to go out and rape women actually do so out of a need for power, and they look for women that look more powerless, with which modest clothing is associated. In many other cases of rape allegations and accusations, it were the female plaintiffs who cited that their provocative dress was what likely caused the assault, while none of the defendants ever tried to use that as an excuse for their actions. In a way, we do live in a rape culture. Outrage media machines headed by a radical feminist movement consider looking at a woman for too long as rape, or a man spreading his legs to try to be comfortable during a long commute to work as rape, or even disagreeing with a woman online as rape. This disenfranchises actual rape victims and the victims of false rape accusations, while male rape victims are being completely ignored. Department of Justice found that in all male juvenile centers, female staff are involved in grooming and sexually assaulting their charges. While every parent actively teaches their boy-child right from wrong, women are actually also taught preventative techniques that are shown to be very beneficial and helpful in escaping predatory situations. However, women are not being educated on how to not rape or how to consider consent, as we see evidence of many female teachers abusing or predating on their male students. According to the NCBI database, more women than men had experienced unwanted sexual activity, but more men than women had experienced unwanted intercourse. While feminists laugh down the idea of made to penetrate and use excuses for biology as a way for which man cannot be raped, and they completely ignore the situations where the female is the predator and the male is the victim. So what is the actual definition of rape culture? Rape culture is the idea that we value women and their experience and their sexual integrity so much that even a mere accusation without any proof needed is enough to send a man to prison for life or to his death. Rape culture is the idea that even looking at a woman the wrong way can be equal to rape, while we do not give any of the same consideration to men.